The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
You're listening to In the Corner with Benny Mac.
Acknowledge me!
Unfiltered.
Your daddy's not here anymore.
Uncensored.
This kid is an absolute piece of... Watch your mouth, Michael Cole!
And unforgiving.
He's on the line. We get that. But you listen to me, and you listen to me good, Mr. Midlife Crisis.
Here's the man in the corner, Benny Mac.
Welcome back to In the Corner. Money in the Bank is this Saturday. Not the fullest of cards in a sense of matches, but the matches, to be fair, the match has been pretty good over the last couple of months. And we don't necessarily need 90 matches on a card, I guess. But joining me for this episode, Mr. NJB himself. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. You sound like you're getting a cold, actually, as you say that.
I think I suffer mildly from hay fever, so I think that's all that is.
Okay. Well, Tyler was meant to be with us today. Unfortunately, he is actually under the weather, so he couldn't make it. So I've sent him a message personally just saying hopefully he gets well soon. Hopefully he'll be back next week.
Get well soon, bud.
I absolutely enjoyed the Money in the Bank episode we did. Genuinely, mate. I absolutely enjoyed that episode that I did with you and Tyler. I thought, like I said, 2 years in the making, trying to get you two together in the same time. And I really appreciate you guys popping on and being part of the show. So I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was very good fun. Good to have somebody new on. Well, new for me anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That's why I always thought you two would hit it off in a sense of like, just the topic of WWE and wrestling as a whole. I thought it was a really good conversation. I am being a bit biased. I am a big fan of this show. I think it's called, what's it called again? In the Corner? Yeah, no, I'm joking. We're obviously on SJP World Media. There's some plans coming up for this show in the next couple of weeks. We'll leave it at that for now. And obviously follow us at In the Corner on X, at In the Corner WWE on X. Follow obviously SJP World Media. Keep an eye on that. And a few things working on in the background, hopefully to just change up the show, not change the content, but change maybe where we are. Maybe, and I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going to give it away, aren't I, Nick? If I say any more than that. But we're working on something. I've discussed it with NJB and Tyler, and we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully, it'll pan out. We've tested a few things today, and it seems like it could work. So we'll leave it at that. But SmackDown last week ended on a, I don't know whether a high is the right way of saying it, but ended on a pretty good cliffhanger, we'll say. Raw was pretty good. It's obviously building up to Money in the Bank, which is this Saturday. We've got SmackDown yet to come. But before we go any further, we are going to predict we're going to try and predict the card, aren't we, Nick, basically, on that Money in the Bank. And this is going to be interesting with Nick because apart from probably WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, this is going to be your first sort of lead in actually watching the weekly shows to a degree, leading into a pay-per-view for you.
It is, yes. I normally watch all the pay-per-views when they come out, but I don't normally watch... I watch them every now and again. I see like loads of clips, but I don't normally sit down and watch the whole shows anymore. I'll like just get little clips and that lot throughout the week, but I am trying to get back into watching it more.
It does
more as and when the live shows do come out.
Yeah, it does surprise me that you've chosen to watch Raw more than SmackDown because SmackDown's a lot shorter. Compared to the two.
And when I did used to watch it, SmackDown used to be my favourite show of the two. Obviously, this was back when you had the... Oh, God, we're going back a bit now. Back when you had the likes of Bischoff in charge of Raw, Stephanie in charge of SmackDown.
Yeah, so 2002. Yeah, about 2020 odd years ago, mate. So,
good God, is that really? Oh
it's
God,
getting
so old.
It's getting depressing, mate. Whenever you say stuff like we were talking about something the other day, I didn't remember what it was, but I was like, "Good God, I'm old." But we're not as young as some people, but we're definitely not as old as some people either. But that's true for everybody, so to a degree. But yeah, I've even started keeping an eye on a bit more on NXT. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everything that's going on in NXT because I don't. Heatwave is going to be this weekend as well. It's going to be on the Sunday. I might try and keep a little nod towards that, see what's going on over there. But yeah, before we get into that, let's just quickly. There's a few things you want to chat about, but we got to start with SmackDown last week and Madison Square Garden, the Bloodline 2.0.
Just before we get into that, can we just first of all pass our condolences on to Roman Reigns and rest of his family for the passing of his father, Zika. Zika, am I pronouncing that right? I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yeah, I saw the tribute video on SmackDown and on Raw. It was really good, and you see all these faces.
Real good video they were. Yeah, really nice video that was.
Seeing all these,
real nice touch.
Seeing all these people, and obviously being older wrestling fan. I'm sure there's some of the guys that listen to on the network that are probably a bit older or maybe more long-time fans that might recognise more than what we did. But obviously you can see like Rikishi's in there, Rock's mum's in there. Like there's so many. There's uncles, there's aunts. There's so much going on in that video. Yeah.
It's just crazy that that one family. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, it's a big family, but one family has had so many top quality superstars in one industry. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Obviously, the era I grew up in, it was obviously Rock was there. Obviously, The Rock was the People's Champion and stuff. And then obviously Rikishi with the whole, it's too cool and stuff like that. Obviously, I know who the Wild Samoans are because even though you're not necessarily someone who watched it as it happened, you just learn about other wrestlers, don't you, and stuff like that. I mean, I've only seen Haku wrestle a few times. It's a bit off. It's not that far removed, but like. But the stories you hear about him outside of the wrestling business is insane. So what I mean is that just because I started firmly watching in 2000. So as it's been documented many times on this, I think we talked about a SummerSlam back in one of the bonus episodes a good couple of years ago now. 98 it was roughly when you started watching, maybe a bit before. So
slightly before. It was around 98 that I started watching WWE or WWF as it was called.
Oh, you were a WCW person, weren't you?
I originally started watching WCW, and that's only because when Cartoon Network ended, it went on to TNT, and then the first show was WCW Monday Nitro, even though it was a Friday.
I didn't know that. I did not know that at all.
That was how I first got. That was my first introduction to wrestling. Watching cartoons up until 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Then, hang on, what's this? I'll stay and watch this, And then somebody told me about WWF, and then the rest was history.
Don't let the current Prime Minister know that you had Sky as a child, because apparently that's.
Sorry, he's only going to be the Prime Minister for about another 3-4 days.
Well, hopefully so. Anyway, thank you for reminding me about Roman's dad. I was going to say something, and because we got so bogged down with what we were going to do, and just time today. It's not that I forgot, but I probably was going to mention something at the end. But I'm glad you brought it up. So. Yeah, so SmackDown ended on a
bang,
and the sort of talk around the campfire, so to speak, and when I say campfire, I mean the internet, that Paul Heyman actually didn't sleep,
acknowledge me
at all, and didn't shave purposely to look the part, like he's stressed. He did this before when Roman wasn't around for a while.
I'm so glad I read that afterwards because I was actually really concerned watching it. I was like, what on earth has happened to this man?
What's going on with him? Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, this has been building since WrestleMania.
This has been coming for weeks, months even.
Yeah, since WrestleMania, I would say 100%. And it's just a case of how, because Paul Heyman essentially, asking CM Punk the week before, take me with you. So clearly he doesn't believe in Solo. Wait, he doesn't acknowledge Solo, does he? As we found out, but just the way they did it, I thought was really good. And then for Paul Heyman's reactions. From everything because when he got in the ring with him, he was basically told he was going to be acknowledged as my wise man by Solo, and he told Paul Heyman earlier in the night that he got rid of Jacob Fatu because he was too dangerous, allegedly, and then he just proceeds to bring him out.
Anyway. And
Paul Heyman's whole demeanor sort of changed, especially when Solo basically told Paul Heyman to give him the mic, and then he got the other Tama Tonga Tongaloa to acknowledge him as the tribal chief. And Jacob Fatu was more interesting in a sense of he did it but he sort of bowed to him as well, didn't he?
It was quite weird. I mean, obviously, I've never seen. They've never they didn't even bow to Roman, so I was a little bit weird that these go in.
Yeah, it's interesting
that they were going in that direction with it.
And then when Solo pulled out the the necklace, I forget what it's called, so I don't want to try and butcher it. What it's called, but Roman's thing was to put it was a passing of the torch from his dad to him to be the head of the table and stuff like that. Paul Heyman's reaction was brilliant. Not only is he not slept, not only is he not shaved to look the stressed part that he is meant to be. Off the mic, you can hear him, but he's like, "Where did you get those?" And he goes, "Those
That's
are
Romans."
And he couldn't quite finish the word Roman, and I love the way he did it because he even here it is. I'm sure most people have seen it by now. Pulls out, goes to open it. I love you, but I acknowledge you are not my tribal chief, and that Madison Square Garden absolutely erupted.
I've seen returns with less of a pop than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, even though I was like, yes, Paul, I was like, oh shit.
He's going to get absolute whooping, yeah.
But you know what? Even though I knew it was coming, it was still quite shocking.
It was like, yes, Paul. Nice knowing you.
You did. But no, I don't know about you. I found it absolutely. The Samoan Spike was one thing, but to then pick this 50-odd-year-old man up and powerbomb him.
Shield powerbomb him, no
less.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. I mean, what a moment! And I tell you, I put it on the Twitter page, the X page. I shared the video, and I put the payoff for this is going to be amazing. Now, there's so many theories about what's going to happen. The biggest one tends to be what most people go to, which we're trying to get into as we go along on this journey. But is that ultimately we are going to end up with War Games with the new Bloodline versus the old Bloodline. But there's a lot of other speculation going around where wouldn't it be cool if when Paul Heyman comes back at whatever point that may be, not only is it Roman, maybe Brock and maybe CM Punk. Now, obviously, Brock's a bit of an asterisk, to say the least. But imagine all these Paul Heyman guys coming out to defend Paul Heyman. And do
you know what? I never even thought that's a really good... That would be really cool.
Well, somebody said... Go on.
I've always looked at it as the... like you said, building up to a War Games, or as I like to hope they go with tribal War Games. But no, that would be really cool. That would. I mean, you could have CM Punk, you could have Roman, Angle, Brock. You could even have some of the old ECW guys, although I think most of them are either contracted to different shows or. I mean, but no, that could be.
Some people said, wouldn't it be cool if there was a new age sort of Deadly Alliance from Paul Heyman days, because of all these. I mean, Brock Lesnar alone is scary. CM Punk added in Roman.
Normally, that's pretty much all you need.
Yeah, normally, Brock, yeah. So yeah, that was quite interesting, and I absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to see what happens. Now, I think we're probably going to have to wait, and I mean, we're going to get through Money in the Bank. I don't think Roman will be at Money in the Bank, if that makes sense. I'm not saying he won't, but I don't think that's the right time. Obviously, he's just lost his dad in real, away from TV.
We'd love to see him back, but it would be a very. Although saying that, they like doing the unexpected, so I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I think now with this now that Solo's got his bloodline set up essentially, and got Fatu's there, and the Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. Now we've got this new bloodline. I think we need to see them dominate now for a little bit in order to cause more reign of terror, so to speak. And I think more than likely it's going to be SummerSlam we see something, to be honest with you. And do you know what? I have no issue with that. SummerSlam's not that far away. I think it's about a month. I think I did put the dates up, didn't I, in one of the chats we were in. But it was just I think it's probably going to be more like SummerSlam, to be honest with you. And SummerSlam is on August 3rd. So, yeah, I think
August, is it?
It's in August, on August 3rd, mate.
For some reason, I had it in my head that it was September. No, that's all right. Then. Need less time to wait. That's fine.
I think it'll be. Yeah, August 3rd.
It was September. Anyway.
No, August 3rd it will be. So, August 3rd. Quickly, I want to go to the X before we move on to Raw, mate. I did put some stuff out. So we've got because SummerSlam is coming up. This leads in quite nicely. Is that I put on X? I put, hey, all SummerSlam is in August, but we want to know which SummerSlam would you like us to look back on for like a special, like we did a while back, a couple of years ago with yourself. We've still got, if you're on X, so follow us at InTheCornerWWE. The poll is still active, and it is so we've put up SummerSlam 1997 and SummerSlam 2000. Currently, mate, it sits at 50-50.
Great.
So, as much as I'm not saying we won't do it, but what I'm saying is we're not going to do both. I know the SGP World Media like to do that with chain wrestling, and they like to make them talk about 2 matches. This is 2 whole pay-per-views. We are not doing that. We will, but ultimately what will happen is we'll flip a coin maybe if it is still 50-50, but there's still 3 days, 6 hours left as I sit here right now recording. Obviously this episode will be out on Wednesday. It's Tuesday as we record this, so you've still got 2 days to go, so please give us a vote out there. One other thing I want to, because we're going to talk about Money in the Bank in a little bit anyway. I asked the audience, so to speak, do you think Jey Uso will be world champion this year? Dan Griffin at Dan Griffin 21 says the only way he does is it with the Money in the Bank cash in for all the main event monkery he's put. I see his future going into Survivor Series as part of a reunited Bloodline versus Solo's Bloodline 2.0 rather than with the title. So I can understand his logic with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
go on.
He's one of my favorite. Well, hang on, no, I'll say that. I was going to say something, but I'll say that for later on later on in the show. Bang
Bang Steve just put no. Fair enough. Chain wrestling, I'm assuming it was Sai. It might be Mags, I'm not sure. I don't know. Didn't put your names on it, but can't see it this year. Few ahead of him already. Plus we have Roman's return. That will be big. He will be a big part of War Games in November at Survivor Series between 2 Bloodline groups to build as well, maybe. So again, a lot of people seem to think. Well, these guys seem to think so. What other people think? They think that it's like we've said. It's going to more than likely be Bloodline versus Bloodline, original and new, and maybe for the person to to take control and be the legitimate. Because at the end of the day, everybody still thinks Roman's head of the table, and it makes me laugh that he's not even been there in a good way, and yet somehow he's turned face. By literally with not even being there, thanks to Paul Heyman and the work that the rest have done. So even though he's not there, Solo and the rest of them, and Paul Heyman especially, have done a great job of turning someone from heel to face without that person even being on TV, which I thought was really good. So yeah, if you want to take part in any of the all the contact info will be below in this podcast. But as I said, we are in the corner WWE on X. The WhatsApp group is now up and running. So if you want to join a private community WhatsApp and talk about some wrestling and let us know what you think that's going on at the moment or anything we've talked about on the show, you can do that. And also the email address is below as well. I should have got a drink, man. I'm losing my voice already. What grabbed you on Raw then? What was the main thing that grabbed you on Raw this week?
I said another video from the Wyatt6 I thought was really cool. I think they are the latest video they're targeting, definitely targeting Chad Gable from the way he was treating his quote unquote family. Well, at least that's the take that I got from it. Still getting loads of the old Mankind Dude Love and Cactus Jack video with him talking with Bo Dallas talking to himself or Uncle Howdy or however you want to put it. Really interesting stuff there. I just hope Otis doesn't let him wrap him around his little finger again and persuade him to get in to go back to him. Yeah, that was because they had so Raw basically started. And started with Jey Uso. The pop from the crowd for Jey Uso, by the way, was absolutely insane. Then his music hit, and it's almost like it doubled again in terms of the volume of the crowd. It was really good. So Jey Uso, again, we'll talk to our predictions after this, but Jey Uso's obviously qualified. Chad Gable's qualified.
for Money in the Bank, the men's side. But yet again, interrupting Chad Gable, as you well pointed out. And what was then revealed in the video later with Bo Dallas chatting to himself, essentially, because I love the way they did this. The way it kind of morphed.
They are well done. Very well done.
Something I didn't say on last week's show, when we talked about a little bit last time, was, you know, the door in between them? Did you notice how it glowed at one point? I don't know if you noticed that. Maybe we'll go watch it back. No, watch it back. The door's significant in some way. I think maybe it's like he's in his own mind, maybe, or maybe this is meant to be inside the realm of where the Firefly Funhouse was. I don't know. It's really, maybe it's, I don't know. He's like locking the door on something, but there was a bit of a glow of light at one point, and the way they, is it me or maybe Bo Dallas wasn't given a lot of time on the mic before, but the way he's delivering these, I mean, it's one thing to have the script in front of you, isn't it, and talk about it and stuff, but the way he's delivering it, it's coming across.
He's selling it really well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yeah. And I think he's accomplished more, unfortunately, even though he's a former NXT champion, he's a former Raw Tag Team champion as well. But I think he's accomplished more in these videos than he probably did in his initial run, which is quite mean, really, because he was an NXT champion. He was one of those ones, unfortunately, that suffered when he came to main roster. It didn't just, I don't know, people got bored of it. I don't know. You could argue that it was Vince McMahon's fault or whoever, but it does seem like certain NXT stars came up to the main roster, and what got them over down in NXT, for whatever reason, it wasn't liked on the main roster. I don't know. That's a whole podcast in itself, isn't it, really? But I love the way they did it, and the way they flicked between Bo and Howdy. Like 1 minute, it was both of them sat down talking to each other. Then it was just Bo kind of talking to nobody. Then it flicked and it was really good. Then there was a point where Bo and Uncle Howdy sort of became one, and they started, when Bo would say something, Uncle Howdy would say it at the exact same time.
Do you know what? That's reminded me, actually, you just saying that. One thing that reminded me of, now, I know you're a Doctor Who fan, apologies to those who aren't, but it gave me flashbacks of, I can't remember what the episode of Doctor Who was called. I think it might have been called Midnight, where there was that creature that started off by repeating what its target was saying, and then it would say it at the same time. Oh. Do you remember that episode?
I know what you're on about. I don't know what episode it is, though. Is it? I
think it's called Midnight. I'm pretty sure it's called Midnight. But yeah, the way that, like you say, the way they were talking, like first they would repeat, then they would say at the same time. It just took me back to that episode of Doctor Who. It was, I said, really well done.
Basically, gave the impression that they were becoming one. They were one in the same, weren't they?
Yeah.
Basically, so it was really good. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gents, go watch it. Honestly, it was really good. If I'd have thought about it ahead of time, I could have maybe played it on here. But I haven't actually got it queued up and stuff, so but it was really good. If you haven't, we will start doing more of that as we go along. We'll try and queue these things up. Thing is, I don't want to know Nick's or Tyler's opinion until we start doing the show, because then I don't want to know what Nick's going to say, because otherwise you don't react necessarily the same way, if that makes sense. What was I going to bring up? Quickly, I want to bring it up, and we'll have to go too much into it, but the Sami Zayn Braun Breaker. Now, last week, Sami Zayn on Raw, basically, Braun Breaker's been screwed over a couple of times in matches over the last few weeks by other interference and, this rivalry that's been going on with Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Sami basically found Braun Breaker backstage, said, if you want a shot, you can have it. But gutsy move by Sami. He's an underdog, still. Underdog from the underground, they called him. Fight from behind, And there wasn't much to it other than that. And I was like, I know it's being advertised. It's got a championship match. It's always important for a title match. But I can't say I was really sat here, Nick, overly excited about it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm very impressed with Braun Breaker. I'm impressed with this, that he's got a good look. Quite good on the mic as well, actually. I mean, so I think yeah, they could have gone around it a different way. But I mean, because like 2-3 weeks ago, wasn't there a match on Raw where it was him and Sheamus, and maybe there was a third person to determine a number one contender for the IC title?
I think.
But I think it ended. I think it ended in a no contest or something like that, where somebody might have come in and interrupted it.
I think. Oh yeah, it all kicked off, didn't it? I can't remember exactly. Would have talked about it at the time. Moving so bloody quickly, that's the thing. But this week on Raw, we had Sami Zayn come out, vowed to defend his title, which Breakker took. You knew what Breakker was going to do. They ended up having a bit of a. He said, "Look, people have said they're going to. People have said they're going to break me in half and take this and blah blah blah. I've always got back up 1,000, and holds the title up. And Braun looks like he's going to. He kind of nods and goes, "Yep," and goes to walk away. But then spears Sami.
I was counting down to see how long it took him to turn around and try and attack him. I was a few seconds out.
Yeah. It was a bit. He's quite quick though, isn't he? Braun Breakker on his feet.
He's very quick.
He's very quick. Ended up being a back and forth. Sami actually rolled out, then ended up managing to get out of. I think didn't Braun Breakker try to run at Sami again, but Sami jumped over him.
He did that thing where he runs around the ring and then runs into the spear that way. But Sami saw it coming and managed to jump out the way, and he runs straight into the ring steps. Yeah,
they end up back in the ring. Sami looks like he's going to set up for the haluva kick. Ultimately gets another spear. And yeah, so it did what it needed to do for me, at least. Anyway, it's made me a bit more excited for the match now. You don't want to give too much away with the brawl, do you? If that makes sense, you want to save it for the title match. But obviously, we'll talk about that again in a little bit. Yeah, the Wyatt6 stuff. I think the main event was really good, to be honest, with Drew, McIntyre, Sheamus, and Dragunov. Get my words out. And this was to determine who would qualify in the last spot for the men's Money in the Bank match. I actually thought this was. I mean, it's the main event for a reason, but I actually thought this was a really good match.
Yeah, very impressive from all of them, really. I mean, obviously, I don't know Dragunov as much as I know the other two, but was really, really impressed by this one.
I know Dragunov was a former NXT champion, so and I think possibly NXT UK. He was definitely in NXT UK, and whether he was champion, I think he was. But really good match. I was torn because the way the field is sort of panned out with the Money in the Bank, it's been relatively new people. Somebody that you would not necessarily have this type of match before, I guess.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But I was wondering whether we were going to see CM Punk cost Drew maybe the triple threat. But
I'll come back to that one.
Yeah, I've got my own theories on that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Drew McIntyre did qualify. So we got LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Carmella Hayes, Andrade, Jey Uso, and Chad Gable. There's at least 3 in that match that I'm like, yes, they could win that. One of them is definitely but we'll see. We'll get to that in a little bit. I think for me, mate, the whole Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, Liv, by the way, defended her women's championship. Ultimately, inadvertently or on purpose, it depends on your point of view. Dominic Mysterio was out there, so was Ray. They ended up having a pretty good match themselves later on. Liv ultimately defeated Zelina Vega thanks to a distraction from Dominic Mysterio because he was trying to get Zelina to use the chair. Right in front of the referee, I might add.
I don't know what he was saying.
Not even subtle about it. So yeah, there's that whole storyline going on with Liv, and then you got Finn and Damian seeming to be, I wouldn't say at each other's throats at the moment, but there is definitely
Give it time.
a tension, isn't there?
Give it time. There will be soon.
Yeah, you reckon?
I thought, I can't remember which, it was Raw a couple of weeks ago. I saw them talking. That was it. It was before the Raw where Finn was in a qualifying match to become a participant in the Money in the Bank ladder match. didn't win it, but I just saw the way that they were talking about him cashing it in and the look on Priest. I was like, yeah, I know where this is going.
I think everybody's in their mind of Finn at some point, and Damien are going to go at it. Whether Finn's going to come off as the good guy or Damien's going to be the guy, I have no idea. At first, I was like 100% Finn's going to come off the babyface, but now the way it's playing out, I'm not actually sure. But so Liv actually ended up helping Finn and JD McDonough become the World Tag Team Champions, which they are now. They're into a week's reign of that. And they seem pretty. We have a scene where Damien and Dominic are having a conversation, and Damien's like, "Dude, you got to sort this live crap out." And then Dominic, under his breath, says, "God, it's like being back with my dad," which I thought was really interesting. They walk into the clubhouse, the locker room, and Liv Morgan's in there playing video games with Carlito, Finn, and JD McDonough, and yet Damien's having to go at Dominic, and like Dominic's not even in the room; he's with Damien. So there is something going on with Finn and Liv. I think I know she's aiming for Dom.
I thought that's like you're telling him to get rid of it. I mean, Finn's already telling her to take a hike, is he?
Absolutely, yeah. He had that room key, mate. So that's going to play out the way it's going to play. I can't wait to see how that plays out. But I think that's about it for Raw. The altercation between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins was interesting, mainly because Finn comes out to confront Seth, but actually Damian took exception to this and was like, "I can handle my own business." And it's almost like, there was almost an argument. Well, there was an argument really to a degree between Finn and Damian, and then Damian wants Finn to basically back off, and then Finn ends up attacking Seth, and he lets him beat Seth down a bit, and he's like shaking his head like, "What are you doing?" And he pulls Finn off Seth, which ultimately ends up into a bit of a scrap, and Damian comes out on top on that, but like Damian's determined to prove that he's a world champion by himself. Yes, he cashed in Money in the Bank, but he's trying to prove that he's he's not a transitional champion, basically.
Well, like I said, he needs to prove himself as, like you say, he needs to prove himself as the champion. And I mean, as I said in our last show about my feelings on the Money in the Bank concept, I don't like it that it can be cashed in at any random moment. I think it should be a proper match. But he needs now that he's got the title by hook or by crook, he now needs to prove that he deserves to hold on to the thing. And I think beating Seth Rollins cleanly, underlined 3 times there, would be a hell of a good start in that.
Yes, 100%, yeah. This kind of leads nicely into Money in the Bank, actually, to be honest. Is there anything else on Raw that jumped out at you?
No, I think we're good to go on to Money in the Bank.
Yeah. I mean, Rey Mysterio versus Dom was a really good match, by the way, and the way it all panned out was really good, so I would recommend that to go and watch back. Ultimately, Rey Mysterio does win, which I kind of mentioned on. I will. We need to talk about, actually, in the women's side, Zoe Stark actually was the last person to qualify for the women's side, which we're going to get into now anyway, but I've got to bring that up. One thing I was a little bit disappointed on Raw, I was expecting a bit more from this. The Xavier Woods Karrion Kross match. I was expecting a bit more from this based on what we've seen and what we mentioned a couple of weeks ago with the whole Kofi Kingston with thing that we saw.
Yeah.
But Xavier Woods won the match. So that could be something that could cause a bit more tension between Kofi and Xavier. Karrion Kross attacked Kofi Kingston after the match and held him in a submission move for quite some time. And then, I feel like they panned away too quickly from that. And it was just kind of there. I was expecting a lot more from it, basically. So that's my only real...
Yeah, because he's trying to get Xavier Woods to join his group, isn't he?
That was the general gist of it. Yeah. I mean, now Xavier Woods has got a win over Karrion Kross, cleanly, I might add. Maybe that will be something that goes on. You should have let me have the match in the first place, Kofi. Because obviously Kofi, I mean, it was a distraction when Kofi lost still. But my point is that Xavier's now got a win over Karrion Kross without help.
Yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie then. Let's go. Well, we mentioned the women. So, Zoe Stark qualified. Tiffany Stratton. Chelsea Green. Naomi. Let me get this right. Io Sky. Lyra Valkyria. Tiffany Stratton. Naomi. Zoe Stark. And Chelsea Green. Last year's winner, Io Sky, cashed in as well at SummerSlam and became women's champion. Lost the title at WrestleMania and has been on a bit of a rampage with Damage Control. Says Damage Control needs to change. And we're seeing that kind of happening out. But who do we see winning this, to be fair? I mean, to be honest, this field is looking a bit... I thought Jade Cargill was going to qualify for this, to be honest with you. She didn't. So I think Chelsea Green in there... I don't know if you see much of her yet, Nick, but she's got that Karen-esque, I want to see the manager thing going on.
Right. Okay.
It's a shame that... not a shame, because Carmella obviously left to have a baby and stuff, but they were starting to put Carmella and Chelsea Green together. And those two together would have been really good as a tag team, and that sort of the way they were as characters. I thought they would have gelled really well, but obviously she went off and had a baby, and it is what it is. But I mean, what are your thoughts on? Obviously, this is going to be quite difficult for you because a lot of these faces here you're going to be quite new to, and Tiffany Stratton's relatively new from NXT as well. So,
I must admit, I was leaning more towards Naomi on this one, but I think it could end up going to Io Sky again.
Io Sky,
getting her winning it twice on the trot.
Well, go on.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say Valkyria's had an excellent start to her main roster. She made it to the finals of the Queen of the Ring and stuff like that. She's had some excellent matches, beating some big names. So although you could probably say, she's probably between her and maybe Tiffany Stratton, you could say they're like kind of the outside shots. But actually, I could see the way it's going. I could see either one of those winning it. To be fair, weirdly. Although I agree with Naomi, or maybe even Io Sky 2 years in a row, I can actually see, and it could be not something to cash in straight away, as we talked about on last week's show, the Sunday show with the Money in the Bank stuff. But if they did this right, Chelsea Green could be a great shout for me personally, as a heel.
Yeah, definitely see it. Yeah, I mean, it's like Money in the Bank. Anyone can happen. It wouldn't be the first time that if there's been a shock winner, or not so much a shock winner, that might be the wrong word to use. I mean, the first ever women's Money in the Bank match was won by James Ellsworth.
Well, there we go. Yeah, we discussed that on Sunday show. In terms of story going forward, obviously Bayley being the women's champion at the moment, Naomi could be interesting going forward. Although Io Sky is on Raw, her winning it and maybe cashing on Bayley, the person that beat her for it,
that would be really cool.
There's another way of doing it. But I'm going to ask you, lock in on that. Who do you, off the top, obviously it's more, you're still getting back into it, but who do you think is going to win the women's Money in the Bank?
I'm gonna go with one of my initial picks. I'm gonna go with Io Sky.
Okay, I am actually, only because I feel going for. I mean, there's other stories here. Naomi being one of the best mates of Bayley, Io Sky, potentially cashing in, taking it to SmackDown, even though she's on Raw. Because I'm assuming that is the loophole you could still use. Would be really good. There's nothing wrong with Tiffany Stratton winning. There's actually nothing wrong with any of these women. I'm not looking at this field going, I'm 100% sure this person's going to win it.
Yeah, there's no one. There's no one that you think, they're just there to make the numbers up.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I'm going to go Chelsea Green, mate, because I think that would be absolutely annoyingly hilarious going forward, and they could use it really well to build her up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, right. So you've gone for Io. Did you say Io Sky? Yeah, okay.
Io Sky.
Let's try and remember that for the obviously the review show as well. Let's quickly go to this. We kind of talked about it a little bit, kind of obviously the build up on Raw, but InTheCorner champion Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Potentially, this could be one of the matches of the night.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of potential in this one, and I think we're going to have a title change here.
You think? Wow, okay, really?
I think we will. Yeah, I think with the push that they're giving to Breaker, as I said, he's got a brilliant look, very, very tough. I think we're going to get a change here.
It would be based on the way Braun Breaker's been presented the last month or so. I can see that 100%. I'm going to stick up for the hometown boy, because that's where they're going to be. They're going to be in Toronto, and I'm going to stick with Sami Zayn retaining. I think even if Braun Breaker doesn't win, he can come out of this looking freaking amazing, and it won't be long after the fact where he will be a champion, if that makes sense. So, but I'm gonna say Sami Zayn, mate.
Cool.
I tell you what, we're probably going to have more to talk about with the men's Money in the Bank. To be honest with you, there's quite a few moving parts there. So, undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens are going to be taking on the Bloodline. I'm assuming it's Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. I'm going to assume now that Jacob Fatu might be ringside, if not make an appearance. We'll leave it at that.
Well, it doesn't look like they've actually nailed on who it is, because where I've got it, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm looking at the match card on Wikipedia, so take that with a grain of salt. But it says the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and /or Jacob Fatu. So
they're using that thing of the Bloodline, like the New Day did with the team that were the Freebird rule, I think it's called, like where they can so I'm going to assume it's Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa. It might be. Yeah. Well, we'll have to. It's going to be the Bloodline anyway. I'm torn of who's going to win this, but let's just say Cody, Randy, and Kevin Owens win. But I think the Bloodline are going to be use the out the numbers game. There's now 4 of them against those 3, and I believe they will leave, or at least put a beating on them. In terms
the
of
Bloodline has to win this match.
I think based on what's happened on SmackDown, obviously
they have to win this match. If they do not win this match, it is just like what happened with the Nexus and John Cena. All the momentum, and especially with the way, and it would make even less sense than that, because obviously with the way the WWE has been over the last few years of doing more drawn-out storylines, it would make no sense to keep building Solo Sikoa up and then cutting the legs out from underneath the group without potentially even having Roman involved.
Yeah.
So I think the Bloodline have to win this match.
I agree. That's what I was getting to. You got there before me, but yeah, that's what I'm getting to. I'm wondering whether maybe a mistake happens, because there's been a lot of... I'm sure most people have noticed this, but when Randy has been talking to Cody, the eye contact is minimal, and he's actually looking at the championship on his shoulder.
He's been eyeing up the strap.
Absolutely. And like we've already said before, there is an inbuilt story with Cody and Randy straight away, isn't there? So that could be... Maybe this is the start, possibly Cody versus Randy at SummerSlam. This could be the build to it. So maybe something happens. Maybe Cody bumps into Randy and it causes him to take the loss. But either way, I think you're 100% right. The Bloodline need to win this 6-man tag. Even if they cheat to win it, it doesn't matter. If they cheat to win, that's still...
It'd be better if they cheat to win it.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is if they cheat to win, it leaves that integrity of the other 3 to be stay intact, basically, because you have the bad guys win via cheating. But I think you're right, mate, 100% right, that the Bloodline need to win this 100%. So I'm with you on that. I don't like to agree with you, but I'm going to have to in this one. World Heavyweight Championship match: Damian Priest versus Seth freaking Rollins. Again, so many moving parts in this in terms of the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan, Dominic. Damian Priest said that if he loses, he's in a gentleman's agreement with Seth that if he loses, he'll leave the Judgment Day. Seth needs to win his title back. His title, I mean, it wasn't the guy that Seth lost it to, but he wants his title. He wants his World Heavyweight Championship back. I don't know how this is going to pan out. Ultimately, it depends on where they want to go. Like, does Damian lose and then that tension between Finn? Because Damian made a statement on Raw about, Damian's basically saying the Judgment Day need me because I'm the World Heavyweight Champion. And then he says, yeah, I do think that. When Rhea was the World Women's World Champion, we needed her. So if Damian does lose, that tension between Finn and Damien could be, because now Finn has the tag team championships. He's one half the tag team champions, more tag team champions. So that could be interesting. But I'll put my pick up. I think Damien's going to walk away with the title. I think there's going to be some, tomfoolery, but ultimately Damien's going to walk away with it. But that also leads me into the next match in a moment. But I want to get your pick and what you think.
No, I agree. I think Damien would. I think Damien is going to win this match. Sorry. If it wasn't for that stipulation about him leaving Judgment Day, if he doesn't win, I might have a slightly different take on it. But
I see what you mean.
I think by hook or by crook, he's going to walk away with the dub on this one.
Yeah. Which leads me into, and that's why I didn't want to mention it till now, but it's what leads me into, there's quite a few different things going on here in the men's Money in the Bank. Now, so, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso and Andrade are in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Drew qualified this past Monday. He's already stating that he's going to win the match and cash in. Now, that was one of the things I thought might happen, but when he cashes in, I'm not saying Drew's going to win necessarily, but let's say he cashes in, but as he's cashing in, CM Punk comes out and screws him again out of the Raw title. So ultimately, Damian Priest still walks out with that championship. Or, the other way I thought it might go, it looks like Drew's going to win, and then CM Punk pushes the ladder, grabs him down, whatever, and basically ultimately stops Drew from becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, which then ultimately opens up for one of the others. So, let's assume Drew isn't going to win it for the second. Who do you think is going to win men's Money in the Bank, mate? Who's your pick?
I've got two answers to that question. One,
you can only have one.
So I want to. Okay,
no, I'm
having two.
Okay, fair enough.
So I've got one who I want to win it.
Yeah.
I've got one who I think is going to win it. Exactly. Yes, the one that I want to win it is LA Knight.
Right.
I was gutted that he didn't win it the last one.
Yeah.
But I think this could be his time. But I actually think it's going to be Jey Uso.
Okay. I'm going to tell you.
I don't think it's going to be Drew either, because I think it's going to be exactly what you just said. He's going to be up the ladder. He's going to be inches away from bringing the briefcase down, and then we're going to hear Living Colour come over the speakers.
Yeah, that's how I thought this was going to play out. Again,
I will be amazed if we get through Money in the Bank without seeing CM Punk.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that. LA Knight, I agree with you, but I'm going to tell you why he's not. I'm going to tell you why he's not going to win it.
No.
Nada. That was good. This is why I think he won't win it. As much as I would, if he does, I don't care, because that'll be amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those where, but why I don't think he's gonna win is because the Logan Paul US title rivalry is not done, and I do think that we are going to see LA Knight versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam for the US title. Now, having said that, he could still be Mr. Money in the Bank, but
I think doesn't mean he has to cash it in straight away.
Exactly, but I genuinely think Logan Paul is going to screw LA Knight out of it, very much like CM Punk's going to screw Drew McIntyre out of it. So that leaves like
that would be quite funny. We could end up with three people climbing the ladder during this match, and each one of them gets screwed over.
Maybe as Chad Gable starts getting up there, the Wyatt6 come out and distract him.
Yeah.
So that leaves Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and Jey Uso. And by that logic, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go Jey Uso as well. To be honest, I think there's going to be a lot going on in this men's ladder match because so many stories. Andrade would be a good one. Don't get me wrong. The hype that. I mean, maybe Dan Griffin was right in his comment earlier. Maybe Jey Uso doesn't. So that again, it's hard to pick, but it's hard not to pick either. The three I would have is Drew, LA Knight. But when I think about Drew, I think what I've said, CM Punk. I think LA Knight's going to get screwed by Logan Paul. So ultimately, that leaves us with four. But out of those four, I am probably 60-40 on this. So ultimately, I'm picking Jey Uso. But outside shot, Chad Gable could be quite interesting.
No, not Chad Gable. Not Chuck it. No, please.
But again, the only one I'm really looking at, and that's no disrespect to him, is Carmelo Hayes. I'm thinking, nah, not yet. The rest of them, I'm thinking one of these is going to win. But I think the momentum that Jey Uso has, maybe Jey Uso wins it, tries to cash in, and gets screwed over by his younger brother Solo, which then leads to us more into the storyline of Survivor Series in War Games later on. So he could still win Money in the Bank, but he could be unsuccessful. So I'm going to stick to what I said, mate, and that's Jey Uso.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I hope it's LA Knight, but
Yeah.
no, I would think it is going to be. My heart says LA Knight, my brain says Jey Uso.
Yeah. I honestly think that CM Punk's going to screw Drew and then Logan Paul. What happened on SmackDown this past week? That rivalry's not over. And you know what? If we have LA Knight at SummerSlam, because he won the Battle Royal last year, I think it was last year, it might have been the year before, and he's had a good year, and he's still got that momentum going. So I want, like you said, I'm very much with you. LA Knight needs to have a championship pretty soon, and I think the fans would love to see him win the US title. Yeah. That's pretty much it, ladies and gents. So, I mean, what do you think? Let us know at InTheCornerWWE on X. There's not really much we can add to anything else, to be honest. There was some other stuff I wanted to talk about where the time is lacking. It was nice to see Samantha Irvin back on Raw doing her announcing. What that means for Ricochet,
yes,
I don't know.
I was a little bit worried she was going to be leaving as well when I saw, because obviously I heard about Ricochet leaving the company.
I'm hoping
so I was a little bit worried that she was leaving as well.
Maybe he's been doing it for a long time now in WWE. 2018, I think he debuted, or 2019. 2018, I think it was. In NXT in that first ever ladder match for the... I know it's definitely that match. I can't remember what year it was, but it was the North American Championship in the ladder match where Adam Cole became the first ever North American champion. I was waiting for you to say it, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit slow there. My bad.
But yeah, it's... I'm hoping we see Ricochet soon. Maybe a bit of time off will be good. A rebrand, essentially. He might go elsewhere. I'm hoping he doesn't go elsewhere in a sense of the other company. I just feel he's a WWE guy. Maybe that's me being a bit biased. I don't know. But that's the way I feel about that. As I said, probably an ongoing gimmick on this show. Do you want to let us know what your X is, Nick, or have you not got it yet?
I still haven't got it yet. I'm an enigma. Nobody knows where I am.
Nobody knows. Well, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it. It's been good to chat to you.
Same as always, you two, mate. Good to be talking.
Hopefully we can get Tyler on the review show with us. Hopefully he's feeling better soon. Hope you're feeling better, mate. Please check out SJP World Media. So many shows on the show. Train Wrestling, obviously live on a Monday night on YouTube and Twitch. And on X as well. X numbers have been doing really good. Obviously this show is at In The Corner WWE on X. So you've got The Waiting Room, which is a Quantum Leap podcast. We've got something you might be interested in, Nick. Nitro Nights. Sai and the co-host. I think it's... I forgot who the co-host... Ben, I beg your pardon. Sai, Ben and Scottish Danny look back at one of the most exciting and crazy wrestling companies of all time, WCW, starting at the very first Nitro, mate.
Oh, nice. Actually, yeah, that does sound interesting. So, I'll have to give that a look.
It's Nitro Nights, it's called, mate, and it's got and it's a WCW podcast, obviously. So they have been going from episode 1 of Nitro, or I can't remember how many episodes they've done. That's really terrible of me not to know that, to be honest. They are actually on episode 90 as it stands right now, as we record, mate. So that's a good one for you to maybe check out. And there's a few other shows that, give it. There's Doctor Who Pod as well. And they were, I don't know if it's still going, but the NXT The Rise and Fall of the Black and Gold brand, that was something that was going on as well. But the WCW one definitely suits yourself, I think, to be honest. Right then, for the first time in a while, let's see who's more right and wrong out of myself and NJB when it comes to Money in the Bank. So,
I don't care if I get the rest of them wrong. As long as LA Knight wins that Money in the Bank ladder match, I'll be happy.
Fair enough, mate. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Nick. Follow myself at BenNny BennyMac on X. And as I said, follow the show at In The Corner WWE on X. Nick, I'll see you again soon, man.
See you again soon, mate.
Yeah.